Hi, this is Dr. Dan Tomasulo, and this is Marie Hartwell-Walker, and we're Ask the Therapist. And Marie has a really powerful concept and issue that she's been talking about, and I'd like to hear more about it.
Okay. I wish it were I wish I'd come up with the term. I can't take credit for it, and I'm sorry I don't know who. And I'm sorry to be so mysterious. What we were talking about before the camera started to roll is young women who feel somewhere at fault because they didn't stop an assault. Either an assault by a sibling or a relative or a boyfriend, and then feel enormous guilt that they didn't say anything. And I really want to reassure people who've been in that position that that is actually quite normal. It's one of the things our brain does for us to help us cope with something extraordinary. And it's called the normalcy bias. What that means is that the brain says, oh, this must be somehow normal. I don't really compute this. I can't quite understand it, and it probably isn't really happening, but oh my, it is.
Yeah.
And the brain kind of blanks out. And then it's not at all unusual for a half an hour later after the assault, or a day later, or a couple of days later, the person sort of comes to and says, wait a minute.
Right.
But at that point, begins to feel enormous guilt.
Right.
And unfortunately, if they then disclose, people say, well, if it was so awful, why didn't you say something 2 days ago?
Right, there's been a delay.
Right. But the delay is quite normal.
Right.
So the point of this discussion to me is to try to help people who have been victims of abuse not to carry that guilt.
No.
Because
right.
it is such a usual response, even though it's a pretty troubling one.
Yes, yeah. And you know, the brain does a whole bunch of things where it tries to protect itself when there's been a trauma or something that's trauma-like. And this is one of them. You know, in post-traumatic stress disorder, there's a bunch of other things. But basically, the psyche's trying to protect itself all the time. And this is one way that it would do that.
People cope.
Yeah.
Yeah.